Alright, welcome back to another Sunday video. This is the fourth time I've recorded this because the system keeps crashing every time I do it. TradingView's been going down a little bit, but we're here. Let's see if it works. So first things first, let's go through the indexes for the week ahead and the week past. So last week it looked like SPY might have been running into some trouble around 456 to 458. But this week, obviously, we closed it out pretty strong, ending up at 460, which kind of opens the door up to 467. And, from a technical standpoint, that seems super realistic, but fundamentally, there's a lot going on underneath the hood that we need to factor in for this week. Most notably is we have CPI on Tuesday, as well as PPI and the final rate decision on Wednesday. So I think those three things will kind of nullify any technical breakout that we have on the market. But you never know. Again, we could be itching for a Santa rally and push it to all-time highs by the end of the year. It's just going to be a matter of kind of trading and paying attention to that data, not getting too oversized in positions, and really just kind of managing things close to the chest. Moving on to QQQ, somehow a healthier looking setup than SPY. Traditionally, QQQ looks a little bit more extended than SPY, but I think because QQQ is more Mag 7 dominant, in this case with Mag 7 kind of pulling back over the last week or so, QQQ actually looks a little bit more structured. So you can see tucked up beneath that 393, 396 point of resistance that I think will break to all-time high. Any more consolidation here is a good thing, and obviously if we break up and out, the target would be 403, that all-time high there for QQQ. Also above both of the moving averages there. Any coiling of those two would be a bullish sign, in my opinion, as long as price is maintaining above it. IWM, small mid-caps, still continuing to perform well. But one thing to pay attention to is how many stocks now within the market are getting above their moving averages and really starting to break out. This brought to my attention earlier the S5 FI gauge. This is a gauge that I am familiar with in the past, but never really paid attention to too much because I thought it kind of took away from a lot of my beginner followers and stuff using different kinds of gauges like the above 50 moving average, some different bond gauges and whatnot. But yeah, you can see here that we're kind of peaking out on what it usually does for stocks above their 50-day moving average. In times past that's led to a pullback. So we'll see if that has any impact on markets as well. Moving right along to performance of last week's stocks and just stocks that we've had on the watch list and in the trades over the last few weeks. Affirm with just an absolute monster breakout. I mean, you really can't get much better than this off of post earnings consolidation. We were able to get in there around 24, 25, now trading 42, and I barely have any of this position left. This is what I would consider to be just a parabolic move on this daily time frame. On the weekly time frame, it looks more realistic, especially when you zoom it out. But in the short term, I think this is an absolute beast of a move, and one that I have sold the majority of my position out of. We also had Tesla last week performing pretty well. Obviously, the whole market did all right. So. Most of these are just the average. We did have one that didn't do so great, but Tesla starting to shape up, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes as well when we talk about the next week ahead. But Tesla kind of grinded up a little bit and set itself up even better for a breakout coming soon. And then Sim, this is one that didn't do so well last week. They did report earnings, gapped up massively. I was expecting this to keep the run going after that earnings. I mean, that earnings was top volume in its entire history by a pretty good sized margin. and you know, I would have expected an all-time high push from that, but regardless, it did break down out of that 51 area that we were watching on a huge bullish engulfing on above average volume, which to me did not warrant an entry. It really just couldn't hold anywhere around 51, which is what I thought it would. And now it's just kind of sinking back down below. Might do another consolidation here before popping back over. We'll just have to wait and see on that one, but overall trade that didn't quite work out. Now let's look at the week ahead. So if you're not subscribed to if you're seeing this on YouTube and you're not subscribed to the newsletter, I do write a newsletter on Substack every week. That is in the bio of my YouTube video, or on the bio of my Twitter. So some of these will be on that newsletter as well. Some of them won't be. First up is Duolingo. You can see here reported strong earnings back at the beginning of November, now kind of consolidating, and you can see here on the annotations we've got something going on here that I saw a fair bit in 2022. You'd have the strongest stocks in the market kind of bidding up, whether it be after earnings or news or whatever it may be, and then kind of creating this kind of bent over look to it. And you know, if you've listened to me at all in the past or really looked at charts in general, those rounded tops or rounded bottoms tend to continue in the direction of the roundness. So this is rounding over the top, so you know it's likely going to continue downwards. But with these really strong stocks, what ends up happening is they kind of make this rounded top and then snap back over their 10 and 20 moving averages to kind of start the next run up, and it creates an interesting looking chart that's really hard to pin an entry on, and I think that's why they tend to perform so well after a breakout like that. And Duo is setting up exactly that. You've got tightness under those two moving averages, the 10 and the 20. I think a pop over here and over that pivot at 222 could really set yourself up for a decent run, with the stop loss being a close below the 10 and 20 there. Moving on. Snow. Tried my hand at this one last week. I think I was just a little bit too early, but now closing out the week pretty strong. Right up tucked below this long-term resistance at 192, 191. I think a breakout there could be great. The only thing to worry about here is, you know, just such a heated run. We're 140 to 190 in the last month or so alone. So, you know, something to pay attention to when sizing on this one. That being said, you do have strong RR off 182. So, you know, maybe some entries there. I'll look to add, but we'll see about that one. MDB, I was actually pretty hopeful for their earnings this quarter, and they were good. I have to do a little bit more research into like listening to the call and, you know, look at the numbers a little bit closer because I really didn't get a good chance to. But what I do see here is the reaction the market had. So we had a pretty nice sell-off from 430 all the way down to 380, back into this little support that we put in after a few quarters ago of earnings around 370. I think that's a good RR bounce area that I'm going to be paying attention to personally, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think if the market continues higher, like we were talking about, to all-time highs, that is that's a good opportunity there on MDB. What else do we have? Let's see. Oh yeah, we had NVIDIA as well. So a little commentary here. Obviously putting in a higher low, which is something that we like to see, especially off of a multiple bottom resistance, or excuse me, a multiple bottom support around 402. Now putting in a higher low around 450, and you know, chugging right along, trying to get back over those moving averages. This is the longest consolidation NVIDIA has had in forever, pretty much. You've got months and months of sideways price action, basically from July 10th to December. So, you know, pretty good chunk of time on the consolidation there on the weekly, and I think, you know, breakout continuation here could really push it. It's just a question of, is valuation going to start to come into play, and are people going to start to, you know, care a little bit more about that? Because NVIDIA is obviously a huge grower. You know, earnings have been phenomenal over the last year or so, but you know, the concern is always, you know, at the valuation that it's currently trading at, is it worth it, and who's buying up here? Personally, I don't know who's buying up here, but I also don't know who's selling up here. So, just looking at the technicals, I think that it offers a nice opportunity. It's just a matter of can it push out, and will that help lead the market? We'll see. Couple of closing notes. We're actually right at 10 minutes, so perfect. Couple of closing notes. I will be doing these every Sunday, so be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it. I also have a Twitter where I post a lot of charts and ideas and trades throughout the week. That is going to be in the description. It's just my name, Tanner's Trades. And then also, if you're interested in the newsletter, which is a long form content of this, it's more written out. It's not more written out. It is written out, and it gives a little bit of a different perspective. Hearing it in my writing as opposed to talking, it's a little bit more in depth. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, you should go ahead and check it out. But without and also this is not financial advice. This is education. Just a little disclaimer there. But yeah, we will see you guys next week, and goodbye.